What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendars as far as happening with other factors involving the markets, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I give you all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, for SPY, this is in a very, very critical place right now. We have this little downtrend that's been established for the last couple of days, but overall, there's also a bull flag that happens to be out there. Right now, SPY has been range bound, and we're going to be watching to see how this moves going into tomorrow. So I'll be breaking down these important levels to watch for, how things are looking on this chart. I'm also going to talk about other tickers. But let's first talk about some data. Tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, March 26th, 2024. Okay, in the morning before the market opens, we have some housing data coming out, maybe like 30 minutes before the market opens. All very, very minor data. And then at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Consumer Confidence Report coming out, some manufacturing numbers from the Richmond Fed. And then at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 1 hour after the market opens, we have the Dallas Fed Services Index and more services data coming out. So expect some volatility at these times, 30 minutes and 1 hour after market open. And then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 42-day bill auction, which might be very, very minor. I'm not really expecting as much from that, but expect some volatility starting 30 minutes after market open, going into the first hour of the trading day. Now, for the week, I just want to remind everyone that the market is going to be closed on Friday for Good Friday. So we have a very short trading week, and a lot of people are actually going on vacation from what I've heard. So we might not get crazy volume. If you look at volume on SPY, it's very low right now, only like 45 million. The market is lacking volume, so it's not making insane moves. And we're seeing a lot of sideways price action. So we'll have to see how this continues. But let me just call out that going into the future, there's not really much going on with the options chain for SPY. Like so far, there's very, very few options expiring for tomorrow and also for Wednesday. But for Thursday, which is going to be the last trading day of the week, right, for March 28th, we have under 400,000 calls expiring and well over 2 million puts expiring with a 4.95 puts to call ratio. So if there are all these puts expiring, the market makers are incentivized to kind of like keep things choppy, if not pump the markets up higher, especially because of all the puts. So we'll see if we end up closing the week with a very, very strong push or if things go south from there. I'll talk about some levels to watch for just to be safe. And then for the fear and greed index, this is currently at greed right now. We were at extremes, now we're actually cooling off just a little bit. Everything is still at extremes except for two things. The puts and call positioning is kind of flattening right here at the 0.8 area. And simultaneously, market volatility is starting to increase a little bit, but it's still below the 50 daily moving average. It's still kind of neutral. So, anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the charts. Let's break down how things are looking. So, for SPY, I still see the same setup as before. We have a potential bull flag forming. There's no sign of this breaking out yet. So the best thing to presume is that we're going to be within the range right over here. So what is this looking like going into tomorrow? If I do extend this a little bit further, this could even take a while until we finally see this play out. I just want to call out that for SPY, we have this resistance right here around the 520, like 521 area. Basically, that's where we're going to be watching for resistance off this flag. I could even turn this a little bit higher, maybe it's closer to like 521 from this white trend line. If we do break out of this, we want to get back above 522. If you see SPY break past 522, we're going to be bullish, and that's going to be our target for a new all-time high, in my opinion. So basically what I'm saying is, if we get a confirmed breakout like this, right, we break past 522 like this, maybe for later on for the week we do something like this, and then we kind of consolidate a bit like this. And if we hold above 522, we're going to be looking for a move all the way up to 525 to hit the new all-time high for this flag to play out. And that's going to be basically our target before this thing comes back down again, between 525 and 526, somewhere up here. If we're bearish on SPY, okay, you want to see this thing basically sell off all the way down. Well, it technically speaking could actually kind of like pop here and then drop all the way down to the 518 support and then still get a bullish breakout like this. That is still a possibility. So if we do end up kind of like popping and dropping, watch 520 as support. If we lose this, we're looking for a move to like 518 to 517.5, and we could still bounce. And the reason why we could bounce like this is because you have to remember that when you zoom out of the chart, we have this white line right here. You guys see this big white line right here? This is going to be our critical support. We bounced off this many times, and we've been uptrending since for quite some time. You guys can see this quite clearly. This is where our uptrend happens to be. So if, hypothetically, we have three possibilities. uh, Now, I don't know if we're going to just break out like this tomorrow. That doesn't really make that much sense. So I find this, I'm going to make this yellow just to clarify this. I find the yellow possibility a lot less probable. And I find the green one to be a bit more likely, as one of the most likely possibilities to kind of pop and drop and then try to get that breakout. I find that to be more probable. But if we turn bearish, just to be safe for confirmation, you want to see SPY not just break from here, but also lose this big white trend line here. So if we do lose this, we're going to be sinking all the way down to about lower levels like 515. If we start to fail to hold anything like that, there's going to be a risk of this starting to drop even lower into the lower 500s if we end up getting a break like that. So these are the three main possibilities. I'm going to talk about which one is more probable. Just to be blunt with you, I find the yellow one to be much less probable, a little bit less likely. uh, if you look at this carefully, we could actually, delete this right here. And between these two, I mean, both of these are still very, very possible. It really depends on how we end up reacting. My gut does tell me that this green possibility is a bit more probable, where we might get an end of the week breakout because of the option chain, since we have so many puts expiring. But just to be safe, we might see SPY attempt to pump a little bit. So if we don't get the breakout right here, it could be coming back down to 518. Then we'll have to see if we get a big bounce or not if the buyers defend it. If we fail, it is what it is, but that's what we're going to be looking for as time progresses. So I do favor, excuse me, I do favor a move back down a little bit lower, but I still think we can maintain an uptrend on SPY and get one more push up as long as we do hold this support right here. And we're going to be watching that very, very carefully, at least as the week progresses. So I just want to call that out. Make sure you watch 520 support, 518 below that, 517.5 to 518 below that. For resistance, watch this yellow, the white trend line right here, then watch 522 and 523.1. So we might come down a bit and then get a nice bounce off 518, or we could just continue from here. Going into the QQQ, I'm seeing something very similar to SPY. We have a potential like bull flag like structure. As you can see, we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's very boring. Now, what you would presume is that we have this resistance where this yellow trend line happens to be. If we get some kind of breakout above the yellow trend line like this, there's a very good chance the QQQ will be slowly uptrending to its all-time high, all the way back up towards the all-time high up here if we get that breakout. Okay, and this is going to be a big test tomorrow. If we fail to get that breakout, there could be one more move back down to about 442, and we could attempt to break out later on to make our way back up higher. So I do find this to be like the two most likely possibilities. And to be bearish, you want to see the QQQ basically lose 442 and start sinking all the way down to like lower levels like 438. So watch and see this tomorrow. We're going to likely kind of pop a bit and see if we get a breakout or not. If we fail to get that breakout, we're going to be coming back down to 444, if not 442, then try to bounce after that. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully. It's very tricky, lots of tricky price action. But these are the two main possibilities, whether kind of like get a rejection here and then break out later, or we could get a very, very, we don't really reject much. If we just break out from here, then we could be getting ready for a very, very nice move up. I would prefer to just wait and see, just to see how this goes. Now, one thing that is kind of bullish looking is Aapl, because we have a nice bullish divergence. Aapl has been getting hit with some bad news, which has caused it to hinder a bit. But I'll be watching to see if this thing kind of comes back down to grab liquidity at these lower levels. It also depends on the news, of course. And if we get some, good signs of this thing trying to rebound a bit, this could lead to a nice bounce back up to these higher levels, and that could actually help the market for the end of the week if Aapl does see some buyers step in. Now, do we drop one more time towards like 169 and then bounce, or do we just bounce from here? That all depends on news and such, but we're going to be looking for a move down then back up later on thanks to these divergences and other technical developments. I'll be watching for that. Watch it retest 169 to 170, then try to bounce back up. That is one of the most likely possibilities. Then we have the one and only Nvidia. Nvidia is on a very, very nice uptrend. It's been uptrending very nicely, approaching its all-time high. Nvidia is going to approach the all-time high, in my opinion. But before that happens, we could actually come down a bit. So we could see a retest of like 944, consolidation, and move back up to 970. Or we could push to 970 from here. We'll be watching to see how this goes. And so just be very, very patient, if anything. Then also we have Tesla. Tesla looks bullish to me because we have resistance at 173.75 and 175, not to mention 177.6. We have support at 172, not to mention 170. As of right now, we have this nice uptrend coming. So I presume that SPY will most likely, not SPY, Tesla could come down like this, retest the trend line, and try to rebound higher. This is the most likely possibility in terms of technical analysis. But do not forget, okay, do not forget that the news is another big factor for Tesla, and that could also affect it. So we have a nice uptrend being established, might come down and start breaking out. So watch for that very, very carefully. For other pieces of news, I want to call out that Supermicro is kind of bullish right now because we have a nice inverse head and shoulders. We're going to be looking for a move all the way back up towards that resistance up there. So I'll be watching that very, very carefully. I'm also going to be looking to see if we could try to break out of the resistance above this 1075 area. If we do break, you're going to be looking for a move all the way back up towards 1100, maybe a little bit higher than that. So this looks bullish to me overall. I'm going to be looking for more potential upside. On top of this, I just wanted to mention that for Rivian has a head and shoulders like structure. There is a risk of this dropping a little bit more because this is like a left shoulder, this is like a head, and then we have like a right shoulder forming. So I wouldn't be surprised if this actually drops a little bit more. Could come down closer to 10 and then get a big bounce if it doesn't bounce from here. So look for a little drop and then a bounce from here. For SoFi has a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure developing on the 4-hour time frame. Now, this thing could actually try to push a little higher towards 7.8, kind of reject a bit, but we have to try to break above our 200 EMA, which happens to be around that 7.88 area. If you do break this, we're going to be looking for a push for 8.5. So watch and see if this inverse head and shoulders plays out. I'm seeing some bullish potential for SoFi. We need to see if we get a break just to be safe. For AMD, this thing has attempted to bounce. So what I do like about AMD is it's been basing very, very nicely above this 200 EMA. If we break past 181 and we're looking for a move for 186, I'm seeing some potential in that. For ARM, looking a little bit bullish right now. Going to be looking for a push towards 142.5. I could see it actually go a little higher into the 140s. Seeing a very, very nice accumulation, double bottom like structure, so it could go a little higher. Going to be looking for a push back up to 142. For Coinbase is on a rip again. It did come down as we were talking about retesting our EMA before trying to make its way back up. So with this nice accumulation, we're going to be looking for a move even higher back up towards that 285 area. So it could push a little bit more, but just be a little bit careful as we approach the month of April, especially for crypto. If anything else changes, then I'd be very, very careful as well. But I just want to note that for now, we're in a very, very good place thanks to new regulations that have been coming out. Going to be looking for a move towards 290. If we do break past that, our next target is going to be all the way up to 300. It looks to me like the chart wants to get up there, so it's showing a lot of life right now. For Amazon, I'm a little bit careful with this. Now, we have a nice structure developing on Amazon. It's looking kind of bullish right now, in my opinion. It has a tendency of kind of rejecting off that 180 resistance. So we're going to be fighting some very tough resistance at this 180 area. If we could break past this, there could be an attempt to go all the way up to about 181 flats, and then we could go higher from there. If we lose 179.5, we could be sinking back down. In my opinion, it's looking kind of bullish. There could be a move back up higher. For Meta, in my opinion, is got a nice double bottom like structure. We're gonna be looking to see if we could try to base around 499 to 502, somewhere around there. Then it's gonna try to make its way back up. In my opinion, there is a very good chance it's going to attempt to get that rebound, but we'll just have to be a little bit patient moving forward. I think that it may dip a little bit, retest the 499 area, and we'll see if we get a bounce from there. For Microsoft is on a nice uptrend right now. It could actually sink towards 420, drop a little bit more before it tries to get a little rebound. But I do see some potential for this to drop a bit more before we get that move. So just be a little bit careful with it. The 430 area with some tight resistance kind of rejected from there. It might come down a bit, then try to make its way up higher. For We have the VIX right here. It's just kind of indecisive, not really getting that rebound. I think the VIX is going to break out over the next like 2 months, but I don't think we're ready yet. So it's still indecisive, so it needs a little bit more time. So we'll have to see how things go. For the dollar index, the dollar is actually still kind of flat right now. It hasn't really been doing much for the last couple of days. Came down a bit after rejecting off 104.5. So watch support at 104.13. If we lose this, there's 103.8 coming next. It's a good drop a little bit and try to rebound. Overall, it's been holding up quite well. So with that being said, guys, I just want to say thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. And I just want to say that the market is still in a very, very critical place. We have some nice developments on our charts, but we haven't really gotten nice confirmations on SPY and the QQQ yet. So I'm going to be waiting for those going into tomorrow. So make sure you watch supply and demand, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Thank you for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and I'll see you guys soon tomorrow morning. Thank you, and peace out.